6. The Prince and Princess of Wales are spending $370,500 annually to lease Forest Lodge in Windsor, a figure the couple have reportedly chosen to disclose publicly amid heightened scrutiny of royal property arrangements. £307,500 a year. That converts to over $410,000 annually, 410,000 American dollars every year for their home. Now, before anyone says, well, they are royals, they can afford it, I want you to hold that number in your mind for a moment and compare it to some other numbers I am about to share with you, because the contrast is extraordinary. Glimpse Trend Hunter papers filed with the Land Registry show both William and Princess Catherine named as the lease owners of Forest Lodge, and the agreement covers the main mansion along with 2 other cottages on the estate which are designated for staff use. The Wales family hold a 20-year non-assignable lease on Forest Lodge starting July the 5th, 2025. That means it will run all the way to 2045. 20 years, starting July 2025, running to 2045. Friends, that is not a temporary arrangement. That is not a stepping stone to somewhere else. That is a commitment. A genuine, signed, legal 2-decade commitment to one home, one community, one place. And in a royal family where properties have sometimes been treated as perks or temporary conveniences, that kind of commitment means something. Dosepacker. A source told the Daily Mail, "This is for the long term, and it is their intention to stay in Forest Lodge once he becomes king." Once he becomes king. Prince William, the future King of England, is planning to stay in Forest Lodge even after he ascends to the throne, not move to Buckingham Palace, not take up residence in one of the grand royal residences that tradition might suggest. Stay in Forest Lodge in Windsor, near the children's school, near Windsor Castle for official functions, in the home they have chosen and committed to and are paying full market price for. That tells you everything about who William and Princess Catherine are and what they value. Unofficial royalty. Now let me tell you about Forest Lodge itself, because it deserves to be described properly, and I think you are going to love it. Forest Lodge is an 8-bedroom Grade 2 listed house nestled in Windsor Great Park. Believed to be around 328 years old, this Georgian lodge still retains original features such as ornate plaster cornices and marble fireplaces. In addition, the property features Venetian windows and a half-barrel vaulted hallway ceiling. 328 years old, friends. Think about that. The house that William and Princess Catherine are raising George and Charlotte and Louis in has been standing since before the American Revolution. Since before the Declaration of Independence. Since before almost anything that we think of as modern history. It has Venetian windows and marble fireplaces and ornate plaster cornices and a half-barrel vaulted hallway ceiling. It is magnificent. And it is home. Hello. The property features a chandelier-adorned ballroom, a tennis court, and expansive grounds. A tennis court that I am told is a particular favorite of both Princess Catherine and Princess Charlotte, who share a love of the sport. Can you imagine? Mother and daughter playing tennis together in their own garden, in a house that is 328 years old, with Windsor Castle visible in the distance. That is the life that William and Princess Catherine have built for their family. Rooted, real, committed to one place and one community and one set of values that puts family and children above ceremony and tradition. Hello. Royal correspondent Danielle Stacey points out that the Prince and Princess of Wales clearly love living in Windsor. The children are settled at Lambrook School nearby, and they will still be close to Windsor Castle for royal functions and engagements. The children are settled. Those 3 words, the children are settled, are the key to understanding every decision William and Princess Catherine have made about where to live and how to live, after everything this family has been through, after the cancer diagnosis and the treatment and the recovery, after the upheaval of the pandemic years and the loss of Queen Elizabeth and the Harry and Meghan situation and all the rest of it. What William and Princess Catherine want more than anything in the world is for their children to be settled, to have roots, to know that home is home and school is school, and life has a rhythm and a predictability that feels safe. And Forest Lodge gives them that. Unofficial royalty. Now here's the part of this story that has people genuinely talking, because the rent disclosure did not happen in a vacuum. It happened against the backdrop of a very uncomfortable conversation that has been going on in Britain about how members of the royal family are housed and what they pay for the privilege, and the contrast between William and Princess Catherine's arrangement and that of other royals is stark and significant. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor paid only a peppercorn rent on Royal Lodge for 2 decades following an £8 million refurbishment payment before relocating to Marsh Farm in Sandringham this year. Glimpse A peppercorn rent for 2 decades. On Royal Lodge, a 30-room mansion in Windsor, Andrew paid almost nothing, while William and Princess Catherine are paying $410,000 a year for Forest Lodge. The difference is not just financial, it is philosophical. It is a statement about accountability and transparency and the relationship between the royal family and the British public, who ultimately fund and support these institutions. And I think William and Princess Catherine understand that relationship better than almost anyone in the royal family right now. According to an official letter published by the United Kingdom Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, the Wales family's lease was negotiated at arm's length with 2 independent valuers, Hamptons and Savills, which were appointed by the Crown Estate. The rent is described as open market rent, negotiated at arm's length, with independent valuers, no special deals, no royal discounts, no peppercorn arrangements. William and Princess Catherine went through the same process that any ordinary tenant in Britain would go through: independent valuation, arm's length negotiation, market rate agreed, and they chose to disclose it publicly, to let the world see exactly what they are paying and how that payment was determined. Dosepacker. That is integrity. That is transparency. And in a week when questions about royal property arrangements are making headlines across Britain, that kind of integrity matters enormously. It was further disclosed that the royals are paying an annual rent of $3,750, a figure that is nearly 50% higher, around $100,000 more, than what previous tenants paid, 50% higher than what previous occupants paid, not negotiating down, not using their royal status to get a better deal, paying the full market rate that 2 independent valuers determined was fair, and making it public. That is not what you do if you are trying to take advantage of the system. That is what you do if you want everyone to know that you are not. Trend hunter. I want to talk for a moment about what this story says about William's vision for the monarchy, because I think it is genuinely important, and I think it is one of the most revealing things we have learned about him in a long time. William has spoken publicly about wanting to modernize the royal family, about making it more accountable, more transparent, more relevant to ordinary British people who are struggling with their own costs of living and their own financial pressures. And there is something enormously powerful about a future king who voluntarily pays full market rent for his home and voluntarily discloses that rent publicly at a time when the contrast with Andrew's peppercorn arrangement could not be more glaring. He did not have to disclose it. The previous tenant's rent was not public. William and Princess Catherine could have kept the figure private, and nobody would have been able to demand otherwise. They chose to disclose. They chose transparency. They chose to say, here is what we pay. Here is how it was determined. Here is the contract we signed. And that choice speaks louder than any speech or any press release or any official statement about royal reform ever could. For William and Princess Catherine, the move is less about spectacle than permanence. The lease disclosure confirms Forest Lodge is not just where they are living now, but where the family appears set to stay. Less about spectacle than permanence. That phrase captures something so true and so important about who this couple is. They are not interested in the grandest address, or the most impressive title, or the most spectacular setting. They are interested in permanence, in roots, in a home where 3 children can grow up knowing that tomorrow will look like today, in a garden with a tennis court where mother and daughter can play on a Saturday afternoon, in a community where the school run is familiar and the neighbors are known and life has the texture of something real, royal family. And when William becomes king, and that day will come, though God willing not for many years, he plans to stay, to do the job from Windsor, to be the kind of king who lives in a Grade 2 listed Georgian house with Venetian windows and marble fireplaces and a tennis court that his daughter loves. The kind of king who pays $410,000 a year in rent for his home and tells the public exactly what that amount is. The kind of king whose children are settled in their school and their community and their life, even as their father carries the weight of one of the oldest and most demanding roles in the world. That is the William and Princess Catherine story that the rent disclosure tells. Not a story about money, a story about values. A story about the kind of royal family they are building and the kind of monarchy they intend to lead. Transparent, accountable, rooted in real life, committed to one home and one community and one set of principles that puts family and integrity above convenience and tradition, and paying $410,000 a year for the privilege, willingly, publicly, proudly. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, friends, here at Royalty USA. I am James Carter, your royal news reporter, and this story is one that I think tells you more about William and Princess Catherine than almost anything I have brought to you in a long time. If it moved you or informed you or made you proud of our future king and queen, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with someone who follows the royal family as closely as you do. And please subscribe to Royalty USA right now, because we have so much more wonderful royalty coming, and I want you here for every single drop of it. Leave me a comment below. Does it change how you see William and Princess Catherine knowing they are paying full market rent and chose to disclose it publicly? I want to know every thought. I read every single comment, and I love every one of you. Until next time, God save the king. God bless America. I am James Carter, and Royalty USA will see you very soon, darlings.